business. I got my wild cherry diet Pepsi, and I got my blackjack gum here, and I got that feeling. Yeah, that familiar feeling that something rank is going down out there.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you, I make you laugh, I'm here to fucking amuse you. How the fuck am I funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me what's fun.
Oh, me, sir, God damn it! Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers gotta hug.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
For you!
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
I'm so racist!
Anybody move, I'll blow your fucking head off.
And the medic gets out and says, "Oh my God."
I'm your huckleberry.
My advice to you is to start drinking heavily.
Put that coffee down.
Pauline, this calls for the old Billy Baroo.
That's a huge bitch!
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
Hey, where are the white women at?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
All right, ladies, gentlemen. I doubt there's any ladies out there, but just in case, what is going on? It is Friday night. Yes, it's still Friday. All right, it is 11 o'clock Eastern Time. This is THT Movie Review. I am Boxman. I got Anthony with me. What up, Anthony?
What up? Take me up to Harlem.
Oh, it's been a long day, brother. A long day. All right.
Yeah, a lot of shit going on, but let's get to the movie first.
Well, yeah, a lot of shit. We'll me and Shaheen will talk about that, what's going on in the wrestling world on Sunday this week. Both of us were kind of busy Wednesday, so we took a little break. And we'll be back Sunday. We'll talk some wrestling right here on Mixer.com/THT podcast. But I would like to let everybody know, of course, guess where you can find THT Movie Review? You can find us on Twitter, THT Movie Review. iTunes, search the same thing. You can even now find us on TuneIn Radio, Stitcher Radio, Pod Directory, anywhere you can find podcast. I have gotten it out there. So there you go. And,
Wow.
Yeah, I did, man.
Sound like professionals. It's like we're everywhere. We're taking over.
Yep, I put us up in everywhere we could be, Stitcher, TuneIn, all the places that the other one is. So that's a damn good thing right there.
Always.
Yes, sir. So, all right, and just search THT Movie Review on any of those, and we'll pop right up. And fuck, man, I guess we can do this. We're here to talk about fucking Harlem Nights.
Yes.
I don't know how else to put that fucking title because it got the F word. It is said the F word or any derivative of it, motherfucker, hey, fucked up 113 times.
Damn. Did you?
133 times.
Oh, you mean that filth, flurm, and filth?
Exactly.
Hey, Eddie Murphy made a lot of money off them motherfuckers. Motherfuck to find Eddie Murphy in the 80s.
Fuck the motherfucking fuckers. That's what Eddie Murphy fucking said right there. So, all right, let's see. This is 1989. This movie came out. Despite doing well in the box office, it was weird. It was still a flop.
Yeah, I mean, look, by today's standards, you make a movie with a $30 million budget and you make 95 on the back end. Mm-hmm. That's a success, but you have to understand, this is kind of coming off the back end of like Eddie Murphy making literally hundreds of millions of dollars. Beverly Hills Cop, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Coming to America, Trading Places. So this was on the low end of what he was making on movies, so that's why it was considered a flop.
Yeah, and really it wasn't popular for people to do what Eddie Murphy was doing, write, direct, star in his own movie at that time. This film was made because Eddie Murphy wanted to direct and act in a period piece. Eddie Murphy always wanted to do this kind of gangster period piece back in the early 30s, 40s. And of course, we all know he wanted to work with Richard Pryor, who was his greatest influence to clearly to his stand-up comedy. So, that's really why this movie was made. Movie did not do well with critics. Rotten Tomatoes has it horrible, which, whatever. Take that with what you will. That's fucking people being people. What used to be back in 1989 was, basically the be-all, tell-all of the be-all, end-all of movie critics was Siskel and Ebert. They were both bored and offended by the movie. Roger later called it one of the worst films of 1989. Movie just was not taken well by anybody at all. Very strange. That was kind of a looser time, but I don't know. To me, personally, I've said this 1,000 times. Fuck the critics. Those are two people's opinion of the movie.
Yeah.
Your critics can say what they want. In my opinion, this movie here was and is one of the greatest comedies of the 80s.
I loved it. I fucking loved it. Now, do you think, and like I said, maybe this is a question better served for Bobby. I don't want to get you in trouble again, Box. I don't want to make you sweat again.
Hey, you can say what you want, bro. I'm good.
No,
I'm just here.
No, this is a serious question, though. Do you think part of the reason why, it wasn't critically accepted by, like, your Roger Eberts and your Gene Siskel types is because I guess it wasn't really... It wasn't like an all-American white bread type of movie that was catered to everybody.
Right.
It seemed like it basically was made specifically for black culture. I mean, just to put it bluntly.
Yeah, but I mean, before 1989, there was plenty of movies that were like that. I mean, the 70s had movies that were for the same thing. You know what I mean? There's always been movies like that. There's still today movies like that.
Yeah, I mean,
geared towards. Yeah. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say they were, they're geared towards certain demographics, cultures. That's just, it's always been that way. I don't think that's why this movie did bad, but before I go too far, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying, I don't really kind of get that. I mean, like you said, a lot of movies are geared towards certain cultures, but to me, a good movie is a good movie. Like, I've said it before, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I'll say it till he put me 6 feet under. Goodfellas is one of my favorite freaking movies. Yeah. I'm not Italian. I can't relate to Italian culture, but that's a good fucking movie. I think anybody can sit down and watch that movie regardless of race and enjoy it. It's well acted, well performed, the whole nine. To me, a good movie is a good movie.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. This movie might have been... damn it, Echo. This movie might have been... It's gone already. Movie might have been before its time. if you think about it. This movie might do better today. Anyone you mention this movie to, oh, I fucking love that movie. Oh, it's a fucking great movie. This movie might have been better today than back in 1989. Even with the language, I mean, they don't make any jokes that are, unpolitically correct today.
Yeah, I'll get to this line. This movie has a couple of whoppers, but I'll say that for later in the show. Right now we're kind of giving an overview.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm having a little Skype problem tonight. I can't play anything, so we're going to be quoteless. We can quote the movie, but I know that won't give it any justice. There's so many quotes to this movie that are excellent.
Yeah, and I'll say this, though. I ain't mean to cut you all box.
No.
I just want to say this real quick. If for nothing else, this movie, I'm so glad that it happened. It had to happen. And it was really, if you really think about it, a once-in-a-lifetime situation, because we literally had the only time ever captured on film 3 generations of what people consider like the 3 greatest comedians of their respective eras coming together one time and one time only. And what makes it so significant is this movie came out in November of 1989.
Yep.
Roughly 2 years later, Red Fox passes away.
Right.
And also, that same year, Richard Pryor more or less goes into semi-retirement because of the multiple sclerosis. I mean, he still did a little thing here and there, but
But it's funny, they said he was actually diagnosed. He was already diagnosed with it during this movie, but he hid it from everybody.
Yeah.
That
last movie he did with Gene Wilder, I think it was Another You. You could see it. Like, by that point, it was just full blown. He couldn't hide it if he wanted to.
No, there was no way. And 2005, he did end up losing that battle and passed on. He definitely was amazing, Richard Pryor. So it's what he went through. The movie JoJo Dancer, another great movie of his that he was in. But yeah, him and Gene Wilder. Just since we're on the, I'm going to go through the cast in a minute, but him and Gene Wilder, some of the movies they did were just amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't even know what else to say. They were just watching those two together. I mean, they didn't even have to say anything. They could look at each other and you would laugh.
Yeah, they had that chemistry. They played well off of each other.
Yeah. They were Spade and Farley of their time. You know what I mean? They were Yeah. At that time, they were the Spade and Farley of, that time. They just had great chemistry in whatever they did together. They made it funny. We puts in the chat, this movie got a Golden Raspberry Award and Worst Screenplay Award for Eddie Murphy.
No, I mean, once again, man, I really think that there's a disconnect between critics and regular people. Because regular people enjoy things for what they are. I mean, look, everybody has their preferences. Some people like strawberry, some people like chocolate. But I don't know. Do you think sometimes critics take their jobs too seriously when it comes to like breaking down the merits of a movie?
Oh, absolutely. They have, in my opinion, again, this is, because basically critics are just opinion givers. And in my opinion, they have a list that they have in their mind of what a good movie should be. And if a movie doesn't, get enough checks on their list, they'll trash it.
Yeah.
But, sometimes a good movie is a good movie. This was a funny, great story. The story in this movie is good if you really watch it. It is a great movie. Yeah. The story is good. Look, some of the acting in the movie isn't the best.
It's kind of hokey, but
it's very hokey. It's campy. Eddie Murphy did what you would hope a Hollywood star would do. He took his friends and his brother and he put him in a movie. Arsenio was in this movie. Charlie Murphy was in this movie. Yeah. We've forgotten already. I mean, Robin Harris was in this movie. Yes. Red Fox, who we haven't... Did I mention Red Fox yet? Did I mention Red Fox?
No, we kind of mentioned him in passing, but he's going to get his due because, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, this was... I mean, when you think about the caliber of talent that sadly is no longer with us in his movie, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Robin... I mean, come on, man. That's... I mean, when you take... If there's a Hall of Fame of comedy somewhere, you're talking about... That's like a Hall of Fame list right there with those three alone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And Arsenio Hall is listed in the movie as Crying Man. He doesn't even have a name. I wonder if him and Eddie got into a little argument about that one. But Denny Aiello is in this movie. Della Reese. Stan Shaw, who doesn't get enough credit as an actor. I like Stan Shaw. Do you know who he is?
I've heard the name before. Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah. He's another one of those guys that he's not like a mainstream guy, but like once you see him, you're like, oh, he pops up in a lot of different things.
Yeah. He was in Rising Sun with
Wesley Snipes and
Wesley Snipes. Yes, Sean Connery. God damn it. Yeah, he was actually in one of my favorite movies, but I've talked about 1,000 times. Billionaires Boys Club. He was in the original 1987 version. He was in Snake Eyes, Cage Snake Eyes. He was the boxer.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was in that. And he's had a few TV appearances in this year, actually. He was in Criminal Minds, Code Black. And but he's a very underrated. I see him, and I'm like, I fucking love this guy.
Yeah, and another guy that's in here, sadly, once again, no longer with us. I'm not sure how familiar you are with him, but Ronaldo Ray, very funny guy.
Ronaldo Ray, let me see who
he was in. Let me see, the original Friday. He was in House Party 3.
I'm just looking for his name so I can pull him up real quick. I see, and by the way, we have not mentioned Jasmine Guy. She may not last long in the movie, but she is sexy throughout the time she's in it.
This is this is like the peak of her sexiness, different world. I'm telling you, Eddie Murphy he had that in the contract. Like, yeah, we're gonna do a sex scene in this, just to let you know up front.
Yeah, this was right before a different world.
No, this is right in the middle of that, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's been on. I mean, come on, we all know Jasmine Guy's been on a bunch of shows. Of course, she was in one episode of NYPD Blue.
That NYPD Blue quoting bastard.
I'll tell you what, dude. I'm watching Spin City. I told you I'd watch Spin City, didn't I?
Yeah, go good. What season are you up to?
I'm already on season 6, episode 1. Last season already.
You fucks around, none.
Well, Michael J. Fox's first season. Ashley, I believe is her name. He's with.
Oh yeah.
She was on the last season of NYPD Blue as a district attorney. So,
and believe it or not, and it's going to be totally random. Mm-hmm. I know I know exactly who you're talking about. Yep. But you know what? I'll forever link her to.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking son-in-law.
Yep.
That's the first thing I saw her in, and it's like whenever she popped up in anything else, it's like whenever I see her, I always think of son-in-law.
Absolutely, I think of the same thing. That was her and son-in-law, but she's another NYPD. I'm just sitting there going, man, another one from NYPD, and I've seen 3 or 4 more actors that have. Michael Boatman even was in NYPD Blue for one episode.
Oh, that guy! Actually, he's pretty. He flies under the radar a lot, but he's done a lot of shit. He obviously he was on Spin City for the I think damn near every episode. Mm-hmm. And he was in I remember Arliss from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay, I used to watch that show with Robert Wool. Yeah, was that his name?
I can't think of it.
The guy from the Michael Keaton Batman. God damn it! Right? Am I wrong?
We got to look it up.
You got me nervous.
I got to look it up now.
Yeah, I'm. Let's see. Again, Ray was in 227. Okay, I remember that show.
Yeah, he had the red hair. You can't miss him. He was in damn. Like I said, if you saw House Party 3, remember the dinner scene with Bernie Mac?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was him, Ronaldo Ray.
Okay. Yeah. I gotcha.
He's another guy. He flies under the radar a lot, but very underrated.
Oh, this I didn't know. Actor Jamie Foxx actually chose the Fox surname as part of his stage name in tribute to Red Fox. I didn't know that.
Oh, the more you know.
Thank you. We've spittin'. Robert Wool, I was right.
Trust your gut, Boxman. Trust
God
your gut.
Damn, I got a fucking strange memory. We mentioned Danny Aiello was also in this movie. He's another underrated guy, in my opinion.
Oh.
Hudson. Are you disagreeing?
No, I'm not saying that, but you just made me think of something. I just wanted to backtrack. Since we're talking about underrated guys, we definitely got to take time out to say rest in peace to Bill Nunn. Because when you brought up Danny Aiello, you obviously can't think of Danny Aiello without thinking about Do the Right Thing, Radio Raheem, and that just kind of made me think about it. So I definitely wanted to throw out a rest in peace shout out to Bill Nunn. That was a blow for me. I don't know about you, Box, but that was a blow for me.
Yeah. That's crazy, but yeah, man. Yeah, Hudson Hawk, dude. One of my guilty pleasures as a great movie.
That's another movie that gets shit on, but I love it.
I do too. Yeah, I do too, man. That's a fucking awesome movie. Della Reese was in this movie. She was obviously, I mean, she's been in a ton of TV series, from Night Court to after school specials to MacGyver.
And how bizarre is it to think that obviously she's in this movie, and like we said, it's a lot of F-bombs and motherfuck this and pussy this and pussy that. But how bizarre is it to think that literally, I would say maybe 10 years, maybe a little before, after this movie comes out, she's known for fucking Touched by an Angel.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like, if you Google this shit, it's like, damn, you was cussing like that back then?
Yeah, and you know what? She also did a couple episodes of 227. Let's go ahead and bring that up since we already did. But I mean, and she was in The Distinguished Gentleman. That's another movie we got to do, an underrated movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, we're going to get into it, but it's a lot of movies that I really think, especially from Eddie Murphy, that kind of like get kind of swept under the rug for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, we'll get into it after.
This Distinguished Gentleman.
Okay.
Fucking, what's the other one? Boomerang. Did you see Boomerang?
Oh, hell yeah, I've seen Boomerang, dude, with Martin Lawrence and David Alan Grier. Fuck yeah.
Shit, Eddie Murphy schooled me the feet. Like, if the feet ain't right, you got to roll out.
Oh, man. Yeah, Robin Givens. You want to talk about a sexy woman. Robin Givens in that movie. She'll make your dick hard for the whole movie.
No, speaking of hard dicks, Layla Roshan. My God. Throw it up in the air, turn into sunshine.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to know who she is, we were just talking about Jamie Foxx. Funny we mentioned that, because she was the girlfriend of Jamie Foxx in Any Given Sunday.
Yep.
And I am not looking at IMDb, people. I am not.
Yes, and if you want to fucking throw in another factoid about Layla Rashawn, she was also in one of Tupac's last movies, Gang Related. Ooh. She played a prostitute in that movie.
I still haven't seen that movie.
You have to see that movie.
Will. I know we kind of glossed over Robin Harris. Don't worry, we're going to get to him. He's going to get his due. Even as little as he's in this movie, I'd like to give him a little bit of props on how great of a comedian he was, and we'll get there in a little bit.
No, but you know the brilliant. Look, I mean, it's a shame we didn't get him for as long as we did. But it's something. It's something to be said. You know what Robin Harris reminded me of, and I don't know if you'll agree with this assessment that I came up with. But he kind of reminds me of like a Rodney Dangerfield type, where he'll kind of come in, hit you with that one-liner, and not overstay his welcome, and then kind of like, you know what I mean? He would kind of come in and add that levity. When things would start to get too heavy in a movie, he would kind of come in, hit that one-liner, and go like, okay, I did my part. see you later type of deal.
He didn't. You know what I really thought was great about it? He didn't even have to do the one-liner. If he was whatever, if he didn't know what was next, he would just put his head down, roll, give you that look with his eyes, where he got that big bug-eyed, roll his eyes up look, and that's all it took. That was funny as shit. Yeah. And then he got very. I mean, I obviously don't know, but I'm going to assume. I mean, everything in this world is timing and luck. He got very lucky by getting Bebe's Kids, which blew him up. People finally started taking him serious instead of just a fucking dirty comic that happened to be in the House Party 1 and 2. Was he in 3? Was he in House Party 3?
No, he was only in the first one. They used stock footage in part 2 for him.
Well, he was still in it. But...
Well, yeah, technically he was in the first 3, but there was no new material filmed.
I thought he was in the second one.
Yeah, they used footage from the first one.
No, I thought he was in the...
No. He actually died before the first one came out.
Oh, we're going to have to do a House Party trilogy.
Oh, no, yeah, the first 3. The last 2, I fucked them.
I didn't even know there were 2 more. We'll do a trilogy. We'll do the first... You know what? We'll do the first 2.
No, we can do the first 3, because I like the first 3, and Class Act is one of those ones that I honestly think gets kind of overlooked a lot.
We'll do Class Act by itself because I like that movie.
I actually saw that in the movies. Down in Virginia of all places.
I did too. Honestly, I saw that shit in the movie theater, bro. Yep. Absolutely, man. Let's see. Weebs, of course, doing his usual spitting some facts. In 2006, a posthumous DVD was titled "We Don't Die, We Multiply," the Robin Harris story. I got to check that out. Film features never before seen performances by Robin Harris, accolades from comedians that obviously had a big that took some stuff from him. Have big influence. Martin Lawrence, Bernie Mac definitely had a Robin Harris influence. Cedric the Entertainer, definitely. D.L. Hughley, fuck that guy. Robert Townsend, I like Robert Townsend. Joe Torre, I like him too. I'm sorry, I hate D.L. Hughley. I'm sorry.
All right, Bob, so we're going to back off DL before you say something you might regret.
Nope.
No, I'm only joking.
Nope. It's got nothing to do with any... I told you last time, I just don't appreciate his fucking jokes. I think they're just he uses race in every single joke just to get a laugh. Same reason I don't like Carlos Mencia. I think he adds the word Mexican just to get a fucking laugh. I don't find that funny. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, just for the simple fact that, you might be able to get a certain level of laughter from your core demographic. Mm-hmm. But if you're Carlos Mencia, for example, and you're in a room full of white people telling Mexican jokes, it's going to feel awkward because they're not going to want to laugh. Mm-hmm. Or if they do laugh, it might be construed as racist. It opens up a can of worms that you really don't want to open.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So you kind of got to be versatile with your comedy.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's just...
I did want to give you a little random factoid about Robin Harris. I don't know if you knew this.
Mm-hmm.
But you remember we was talking about Bebe Kids. That's obviously the only really commercial album that he ever came out with. Mm-hmm. But did you ever see the movie? The animated cartoon?
Yeah. I saw the movie. I know. Didn't it turn into an actual TV thing?
That I'm not sure about, but I know it was...
Me neither. I did see the movie, though. Absolutely.
I'm dating myself. I actually saw the movie in theaters.
That I didn't do, but I've seen that. Matter of fact, I gotta put that movie in my collection. I don't know why I don't have it. Can't show that to my kids, can I? Is that
I have it on VHS. I gotta get it on DVD or something. But I was saying, I only brought that up because obviously by the time that movie it came out in I want to say 92. Might be wrong. I think it came out 92, 93 range. But obviously by that point, Robin Harris was dead.
Right.
But do you know the voice? Do you know who voiced him? And the guy actually did a pretty good job. You would have actually thought it was Robin Harris.
Who was it?
It was Faison Love.
Really?
Does that name sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
Big Worm. Yeah, I mean, he was in a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
But that was the guy who voiced Robin Harris. And at first I'm like, damn. When I first saw it, like, damn, that do sound like Robin Harris. But no, it was Faison Love.
Wow, he did do a really good job at that voice, man. Now that I'm just thinking back to that. It's been a long time. I know, isn't what's his name, Tone Loc, in that movie too?
Yeah, he was Pee-wee.
I like Tone Loc, man. He was in what movie was Tone Loc in that I was just watching the other day? Fort Fairlane.
Oh yeah, right. He was in that. He was another guy. He popped up in a lot of movies in the fucking.
He was in Ace Ventura. Yeah, he was in Ace Ventura too. Ace Ventura 1, the first one, but I liked him in Ace Ventura. I like Tone Loc. I think he's a cool guy. He seems like a really cool dude.
Yeah, and him and Robin Harris probably have two of the most distinctive sounding voices you'll ever hear.
Yeah, no shit, man. Shit, I can't even find that fucking movie. I will. I guess we should get into the actual movie. We haven't even got there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back to some of these fun facts. Let's go ahead and kind of get into the actual movie. Movie starts out, we basically hit all the other facts, so let's do it. Movie starts out in 1918.
Yes.
Basically starts out with Sugar Ray, played by Richard Pryor.
Yes.
He's having a dice game. And customer starts getting a little angry, doesn't like kids being in there. The kid is supposed to be a young Eddie Murphy playing Quick.
Yes.
And little fight arises, and they start arguing about some gambling. And the little kid, who I guess they figure he was 7 in this movie. If you listen to the...
Later in the movie, yeah.
If you listen later in the movie, they start talking about when he was born in 1911.
Yeah.
So he's obviously 7 years old for this part in the movie.
Yeah, and Pryor actually I think he makes reference to the fact that he's 27 and it's 20 years later, that type of deal.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So they really do show how old the kid was in this movie. And, he shoots the guy dead, bullet right between the fucking eyes. And obviously, this is when Richard Pryor is like, holy shit, I'm going to take this kid in. And basically he does. 20 years later already comes by.
Yes.
And Quick and Sugar Ray are running a nightclub called Club Sugar Ray.
Yes. And we gotta say this, we talk about that opening scene and then they fast forward 20 years. Mm-hmm. Isn't it funny how when you look at the course of this movie, that Sugar Ray, a.k.a. Richard Pryor, is the only character that never seems to age? How the fuck do you look the same way in 1918 that you look in 1938? The man did not age.
Yeah, he really...
He didn't. Like they showed a young Red Fox, and I guess they at least dyed his hair to kind of like he would have looked in his younger days, and then they fast forward 20 years. He's kind of older. He has, vision problems. He has the gray hair.
Yeah, all they did was take the part out of Richard Pryor's hair. That's all.
He don't age at all. Like Richard did. He have it in his contract that, look, I can't look old in this motherfucker. I can't.
I mean, they parted his hair. They put they had him in a raggedy clothes back then, and then now they put him in a nice suit and no part in his hair, just kind of. But like we said before, though, this was the kind of period piece that Eddie Murphy had been dying to do. Obviously, he's got a little thing with the mobster time and era, like probably a lot of us do. Let's see, where can I go with this movie from here? Where was I? They're running a nightclub, Club Sugar Ray. They got a brothel ran by Della Reese, who's a bad bitch in this movie. Let's see, where can we go? Let's see, how...
It's pretty much, it's not, it's a funny movie, but it's really not a whole... The plot is pretty much cut and dry.
It is. But, I'll keep going a little bit. Quickly in this movie, he does meet Jasmine Guy's character, who's Dominic LaRue in this movie. He has an immediate infatuation with her. Now, to bring that up, she works for a guy named Bugsy Calhoun, who obviously is a rival gangster who owns the Pity Pat Club in this movie. And he's kind of sending some of his people over there to check out what they're doing over there at Club Sugar Ray, see what's going on, see what's happening. And, this is kind of where Bugsy Calhoun starts sending a few cops. One cop, actually, Danny Aiello, after Sugar Ray. And that's kind of, where this movie starts shaping into what it's being. Man, I wish I could play some things from here because I really wanted to play.
Yes.
How funny of a character the champ in this movie, Jack Jenkins, was. And how fun.
I love how at one point, I know I'm skipping ahead here, Pops. I love it. It was one point in the movie where he wanted to call Danny Aiello's character a punk motherfucker, and he was like, punk. And Richard Pryor just looked at him and said, I know what you mean.
Yeah, we know.
We know.
But the funniest part, we're both skipping ahead, but who gives it? Actually, we're not really. Basically, one of the funniest parts is when he first walks in, he's talking to him, and he's sitting there, and he's trying to get the words out. He's like, they're telling him, like, hey, I bet a lot of money on you, and he's like, oh, that's good, you're about to be rich. And then, of course, he starts going, I'm counting on you to knock that guy out, and he goes, oh, come Friday, it took him forever to say I'm knocking someone the fuck out. And he goes, hey, you know what I mean. And Richard Pryor just goes, I do now. Yeah. Took a while, but I get it now.
Now, as funny as that character is in retrospect, do you think that, I guess now, he would probably be going through what, I guess, the early stages, maybe like that, whatever Benoit had, like the CTE, or like what boxers get, the punch drunk syndrome?
Oh, dude, you got to remember, back in these days, even Red Fox, I saw him go 33 rounds with somebody. They didn't have the rules we had back in those days, dude. These were almost fights to the death. Literally. They would just get in there until someone finally could not get the fuck up. Yeah, they probably had concussions out of this world, people like that.
Yeah, and he clearly had a few concussions.
I mean, think about this. We're still trying to understand concussions today. So think how little they knew back in this was 20 years later, so 1938 is when this movie is supposedly taking place. We know, we're still kind of in the dark about a lot of this. So, just imagine how in the dark they were back then. They just thought he was a stupid motherfucker back then, probably. So, but we did jump forward a little bit.
We can go back, guys. We brought up Dominique LaRue.
Oh, yeah.
When we were introduced to her character, she actually shows up with a familiar face in that first scene she's in. Thomas Mickle Ford, or as he's billed in the movie, Tommy Ford, of Martin fame. And who, by the way, who still had the laugh that he became famous for on Martin.
Yeah, Tommy Smalls.
Yes, Tommy Smalls.
Tommy Smalls in this movie. Yep.
And remember, Tommy Smalls had the connection with Quick.
Mm-hmm. Now, we can't bring up the movie Harlem Nights without bringing up one of the greatest scenes in the movie where Eddie Murphy accuses Delarissa's character of stealing. She runs a brothel in this movie. She's in charge of the girls. And Eddie Murphy accuses her of stealing, and they actually go out and fight.
Yes.
This may
and a
be...
scene that today would be ripped apart. The fucking women's movement, all of the fucking social justice war, they would rip this scene apart. You'd have petitions. You'd have GoFundMe pages about, get this movie taken off the shelves and all this other horse shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can't bring up this movie without bringing up this. This might be one of the most memorable parts. I know it is for me. I'm not sure if it is for everybody. But this is one of the most memorable parts in this movie. She's kicking his ass. He starts beating her up because he just can't believe it. He's like, holy shit. And Eddie Murphy ends up shooting her in the pinky toe. This is one of the best. This might be one of the greatest scenes ever, if you think about it, dude.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. She's hilarious. And, I don't know, man. It's just, you want to hit people with trash cans.
Yeah, honestly, I'm right there with you. I love it. I think it's freaking hilarious. Especially when she kind of like basically dared him. She said, look, there. Yeah. Shoot me, motherfucker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Touched by an angel lady. Shoot me, motherfucker.
And she did. And he did. But yeah, he ended up shooting her. She goes to the hospital, but obviously,
okay, I guess, Box, since we're on that scene, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. Now, do you think, I guess in hindsight, even though it was played for laughs, it was meant to be funny, not to be taken seriously, do you think in some way it glorified domestic violence or violence against women?
No, not in this movie. It was a timepiece, and he let her beat the shit out of him until he finally said, "Oh, you want to fight? You want to fucking fight?" No, I don't think it did. I think it was a comedic scene, but in this day and age, yeah. It probably
if it would have come out today, and put it to you like this, if this movie would have come out today, played the exact same way,
yeah.
Do you think that it might be construed as taking things too far?
Today, yeah, it would be. Absolutely. Absolutely, I think it would have been. Today. People are just too fucking... we've talked about this ad nauseum, that people are just... It all... Fucking Janet showed a boob and the world became a bunch of fucking pussies. That's what happened. Damn you. That tit wasn't even worth it. Like Shaheen said.
And I'm a titty dude. I love titties. So I love Janet Jackson. So it's hard for me to knock her, but damn, you're right. But it was an accident. I don't think it was any type of publicity stunt. I think she wore something that was a little bit revealing. Her titty popped out unexpectedly, but I don't think she went out there with the intention of, I want to show my titty. It's Janet Jackson. She can go out there, sing and dance with the fucking best of them. She don't need cheap tricks to get over, so to speak.
How come no one blamed Justin Timberlake? He's the one that ripped that motherfucker off.
Hey, when in doubt, blame the white man. That's what I do.
No, it all fell on Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Damn it. Anyway. Where were we at? Let's see. Right at the part here where he is about to go meet with... Well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's start here. This cop that we've mentioned, Danny Aiello, actually comes into the club and makes a deal. This is where, they start realizing that they're going to be definitely either moving or something's going to happen with Bugsy Calhoun. Bugsy Calhoun says they're making about $15,000 a week. He only wants $10,000 of that a week.
Yes.
15,000, you got to realize, 1938, 15,000 a week back then. Holy fuck, man. Things were probably a fucking, 5 cents.
No, fuck that. You figure $15,000 a week in a 1938 or 1930s in general would probably be the equivalent of like making a $200,000 a week in today's money.
Probably
something along those lines, because you got to figure. And back then, everything was dirt fucking cheap. So if you had $15,000 in the bank, you was living lovely.
Here you go. $15,000 in 1938 had the same buying power as having $246,380 in 2016.
Wow, see, it wasn't that often.
No, you were pretty close. But yeah, almost $500,000 a week it would be now. So they were pulling in some fucking money back then, you know?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, you got to figure. I was having a discussion, a little bit off topic, but fuck it, it's what we do. You know how obviously, Box, you was just born in I think you were born in the mid-70s, but do you remember hearing about, I guess, as you got a little older, about the gas crisis in the 70s, where I guess everybody had to be careful about how much gas they used. They had to be judicious with how they use certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to figure, Archie Bunker. How much would you say Archie Bunker was making in the 70s as a cab driver on average a week? How much? Maybe $200-$300 a week?
Oh, I'd figure probably that. Maybe $350, $400 at the most. Yeah.
Now, you got to figure. Even though, like I said, nowadays we're making more money, but what's fucking up the economy now is the cost of living is up. Yeah. But if you take, honestly, think about it. If you take the money that even guys like me and you are making now, and you give that to Archie Bunker in the fucking 70s, he would be living like a fucking fat rat.
Oh, yeah.
Cause especially if you apply the cost of living that they had to go through, even though I guess by those standards, when you're only making $200-$300, it's kind of a struggle, to maintain your household, utility bills, groceries, that type of stuff. But if you take the money that we're making and give it to them back then, oh, they living pretty.
Yeah, definitely, man. It would be. It would be nice.
Shit. It's bizarre to me to think that at one point in this country, gas was 5 cents a gallon. You can go on a gas station with $20 and fill up. Damn.
$5.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You go with a $5 and be full and probably get fucking 2 cheeseburgers and a fry at McDonald's. I mean, damn. Back in the good, I don't know, my parent. Oh, I remember when cheeseburgers at McDonald's were a nickel. I don't, but they do.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't even understand. It's funny because obviously neither one of us have any kind of recollection of things being a nickel and all this shit. But I could just remember watching, growing up, old school episodes like Dennis the Menace back when it was in black and white. And you give a kid a quarter to go to the movies and get, snacks and stuff. I'm like, how the fuck is this kid going to, they're giving him $1 or something to go to the movies.
Yeah.
And get snacks and all. Can you imagine the day if you try to give a kid $1 to go to the movies? They look at you like you was fucking crazy. What? $1? This won't even get me through the front door.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, man. But anyway. So almost $500,000 a week, technically, they'd be making back then. God damn, that was good shit. Kind of another, obviously we have to bring up the scene with Tommy Smalls, who you mentioned a little while ago, gets killed. They think Bugsy Calhoun thinks he's skimming, and he ends up killing him. Arsenio Hall ends up seeing him coming out of the building and thinks that Eddie Murphy killed his brother. This turns into one of the funniest scenes in the movie, where they chase Eddie Murphy's car down. And do you remember this scene
Oh yeah, I remember it well. I actually rewatched the movie tonight, but I
did
cannot go without mentioning this scene because I guess to backtrack a little bit, when they killed Tommy Smalls, like you said, Calhoun thought he was skimming, so he told this guy basically, we got to backtrack a little bit because he actually told the guy when you kill him, like I think he said, cut his throat from here to here, type of thing, and he sends Danny Aiello over to his house, and how they catch him is he's basically coming down, presumably with a prostitute or something, some chick that he picked up.
Yeah.
And and Danny Aiello, as soon as the elevator opens up, he cold cocks him. And he just looks at the girl with a straight face and go, "Do you know him?" "No, I don't." And she left.
Nice to
These
meet
hoes
you.
ain't loyal, man.
Yeah.
These fucking hoes ain't loyal.
He said, "Nice to meet you," and he walks away. But yeah, and then he shoots him. And I guess we can call him the henchman for Bugsy goes, "He told me to cut his throat." Danny Aiello, calm, cool. So go ahead and cut it.
Cool, man. He's a cool. Danny, I don't know what he's doing now. I hope he's in good health. He's a cool motherfucker in whatever he's in.
You know, he did another movie that was a weird movie. What was that goddamn movie's name? Hold on. Let me get it. I don't want to mess it up. Give me 1 minute. It was a really weird movie. Was it 2 days in... Hold on. I'm at his name right now. Give me 2 seconds here. As soon as I see it, I'll know what it was. But it was an underrated, really kind of... I'm not going to say it was an indie movie, but it was a 2 Days in the Valley.
Oh, yeah. I remember that, actually.
Great fucking movie. You know what? If you haven't seen that, check that movie out. Danny Aiello, Jeff Daniels, Terry Hatcher, Glenn Headley, tons of people. Eric Stoltz, James Spader. This is an amazing movie that didn't get much credit at all. But
once again, that's why we have this show, and we're gonna bring attention to these movies that don't get the credit they deserve.
Yeah, there's Danny Aiello plays a hitman who's washed up. He's suicidal in some parts. He's got kidney stones. There's kidnapping. It's a great little movie. It's not going to be for everybody, but it's definitely a hell of a fucking movie.
Definitely.
So, and it has somebody from Vic Polizos.
Oh, wow. You got that one out?
No, I don't. God damn it. Who is in Harlem Nights? He's Richie Vento. Richie Vento.
Yes. We're going to get to him later.
We'll get to Richie Vento in a minute when we start talking. We already talked about Sunshine. We'll definitely get to Richie Vento.
Yes. He put it to you like this, fellas. He gives you advice on how to handle the ladies in your home situation.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he is in that movie, and that's a part that Weaves understands. And he's right. 2 Days in the Valley, you get to see Charlize Theron nude for a few seconds. It's wonderful.
No. It's not wonderful. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's fantastic. Anyway, back to the part where Arsenio and all of his guys are chasing him down. I wanted to mention something. Arsenio and all his guys are chasing Eddie Murphy down, thinking Eddie Murphy murdered his brother Tommy Smalls, and they're driving. And while they're driving, Eddie Murphy hits his brakes. They hit Eddie Murphy, and while they're going back and forth, Arsenio Hall shoots shoots Junior in the head. I've always looked at that scene after Pulp Fiction came out and just went, I wonder if that's where Quentin Tarantino got his idea for that scene.
Probably.
Where Travolta shoots Marvin in the head. accidentally. I've always wondered that. That's a question I would love to eventually ask that man. But
I would say so. He probably did.
I would say it's somewhere in there.
Now, it's kind of funny because obviously, you know, Tommy Smalls got killed, as we've already established, because of he was thought to be skimming. Now, let me ask you this: do you think it was kind of like they kind of fell? It was kind of like dumb luck, the way they kind of implicated Quick in it, because that wasn't the original intention, I don't think. Because they were basically killing him on something separate. Yeah, but it kind of like tied into it. Do you think that was kind of coincidental, or do you think they kind of, you know, I'm talking about from a director's point of view. Do you think they kind of wanted you to kind of tie that loose end together for yourself? Like, maybe it was like they was meant to happen that way, where they were trying to implicate Quick, but it really wasn't that way to begin with.
Possibly, and probably that's kind of what it was, because that's kind of how it came off, is that, oh, well, he just happened to be there. I think it was a way to just take out those characters and not have them be any more in the movie quickly. Quickly, I didn't even realize it did that. Anyway,
I see you, boss. Don't worry.
Yeah. Anyway, and that's another one of the funniest movies, funniest scenes in this movie, is where they've got Eddie Murphy pinned in a store, and all three of them are out there shooting at him. There were four, but of course Junior got shot in the head. They're outside shooting at him inside of a store. And Arsenio Hall is crying. He shot my brother, motherfucker. But there's one guy who's got a little 6-shooter revolver. And they've had fucking Tommy guns. You hear the Tommy, and then,
yep.
Again, we have no sound tonight. I'm sorry, we have a little sound issue tonight.
Yes, no, I wish we had sound, just for the simple fact of Arsenio going, put that little motherfucker away.
Put that motherfucker away. What's that little motherfucker doing? That is another one of the greatest parts in this movie. Another one of the reasons I remember this movie is that part of this movie. From there, he goes to meet Jasmine Guy.
Oh, wait, Bob, you're skipping
go ahead.
Important scene.
Oh.
Were you impressed with Eddie Murphy's shooting ability?
Great aim. He goes, fuck this. Stands up, pop, 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 down. Oh, look, I shot all three.
And then Arsenio Hall, great thespian that he is, goes, asshole, as he dies dramatically.
God damn.
That was good. Like I said, that I guess that was one of those like tongue-in-cheek things that, you know, I guess it's like one of the reasons people hate wrestling sometimes. It's because it's so tongue-in-cheek. It kind of like take too many nods to the camera. And that's probably why a lot of critics didn't like it. Because they had a lot of those little moments where it was clearly like they were kind of like winking at the camera with that scene. Mm-hmm. But fuck it, it was funny. Fuck it.
Yeah, it was.
Fuck it, like it wasn't. Look, a movie at the end of the day, I think it's supposed to make you laugh, make you forget about real world shit for a minute.
Right.
And you know, this is a little rant I wanted to go on. I don't know how many it's been like 80 something Academy Awards, right? Mm-hmm. So over 80 years. I think they're at 88 now. I don't know the whole entire backlog. I'm not going to do the research. There's too fucking many Academy Awards. But I don't think a comedy has ever been nominated, and I damn sure don't think it's ever won an Academy Award. And I think that's an injustice. Because it's honestly like, I'm not even saying Harlem Nights should have won an Academy Award for Best Picture. But there's been a lot of comedies out there, like over the years, that looking back should have at least been in the conversation for Best Movie of the Year. Why does everything have to be like a sad sack? She got cancer. He overcame. I shall over. Everything has to be like, has that underlying theme of overcoming, or like just being a sad ass fucking movie.
Most of the time, it's some foreign movie you've never fucking heard of.
Yep.
But you know, it's. No, this movie never Oh, wait, it did get nominated, according to Weebs, for costume design. Look at that. Yeah. But, no, this movie, we said before, this wasn't a movie that you're going to look at, this is getting all kinds of awards. No. Take this movie for what it is. It's a fun, funny gangster movie. It's really what it is. Wow.
That's what it is.
Take it for what it is. Don't break every fucking movie down to the lowest denominator and have to just say, this movie doesn't have this, doesn't have that. If a movie's fucking funny, if a movie's good, it's good. And this was a good fucking movie, man, in my opinion. Do you realize how many funny, amazing scenes made this movie great? The next scene I actually wanted to talk about made this fucking scene great, where he goes to actually fuck Jasmine Guy.
Yes.
And he finds the gun under her pillow.
It's
such a cute. We have so much in common. She's such a cute little girl. He even kisses the gun.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I just like I said, I was watching it earlier before we started the show.
I'm watching it now
just because I felt like watching it, and I swear, I lie to you not, Box. I'm not just saying this because you're on with me right now. When Eddie Murphy came across, when he did that scene with the gun, I automatically thought of you. I'm thinking like this would be Box's dream situation. If he hook up with a chick who happens to have a gun under the pillow, he probably would have an Eddie Murphy moment.
Yeah, but I will also unload and unfucking chamber that motherfucker.
Yeah. So as we'll get to in a second, there you'll do. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you'll have an Eddie Murphy moment. You'll be prepared.
Yep. And he finally realizes, why does she have a gun under the pillow? But, yeah, like I said before, Jasmine and Guy, unfortunately, didn't last long. But that was one of the, just that little... Listen, this is kind of like Rocky V to me. Rocky V may not have been, to most people, the greatest movie. But Rocky V has so many quotable lines, which to me makes it a great kind of movie. This movie is the same thing. Quotable lines, quotable scenes that stick with you. Which is why I think, maybe what I said earlier was wrong. This movie might not have been great today. Maybe it was put out at the right time and needed to get that kind of cult following. But I don't know. Everyone who I've ever asked about this movie says it's a great movie, yet the critics couldn't stand it. So,
well, the best way to judge a movie, in my opinion, is how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
If you can watch a movie, if you're having a shitty ass day, or quote unquote the worst day of your life, your girl left you, you lost your job, whatever. If you can just pick whether it's this movie or any movie, whatever movie you can think of, and you can just throw that movie on and you instantly, for that hour and a half, 2 hours, forget whatever's pissing you off, whatever's bothering you, that to me is a good movie. I don't give a fuck if it got negative stars. I don't give a fuck who else buried it. If it makes you feel good, it's a good fucking movie. Even if you're the only person on the face of the planet that likes it.
Yeah, I don't really care what these... Like I said, critics are nothing but two people giving their opinion, just like we are. It's just we've done movies we like so far. All of the movies we've done, we enjoy.
Yeah.
That's probably a good reason to do a podcast, because you enjoy the movies you're talking about.
Yeah, but I guess at some point we really got to pick a shitty movie to kind of keep up, Because when I first kind of like I have the description on Twitter of like we review movies that we like, blah blah blah, and then we also review movies that we think suck.
Well, we haven't got there yet, but I do want to do that WWE movie, that interrogation movie. I've got it. So I'll get it over to you, and we can figure out when to do that one. But, the good thing, obviously, is at least he did, Eddie Murphy's character in this movie did get to bang Jasmine Guy before she tried to kill him. and he ended up killing her.
And it's funny, I don't know, and this might be morbid on my part. You know how they showed the scene with Tommy Smalls, the aftermath?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually kind of curious as to why they chose not to show Jasmine Guy's character killed off. You did the, I mean, that just seemed kind of like, I mean, obviously, I guess maybe an artistic decision, but
yeah,
it was kind of like, why they didn't, they showed Tommy Smalls, throat slash, bullets all over it, and it's like, why didn't they show her? It would have been kind of interesting to see like the aftermath.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that really would have been a pivotal scene in the movie that even needed to be in there, but I don't know. I think they just wanted to get rid of the character and go from there. And they were really trying to forward that Quick was a badass in this movie. Obviously, Eddie Murphy was trying to make himself a badass.
You can tell Eddie, put it to you like this, to put it in wrestling terms, you can tell Eddie Murphy was the booker.
Yeah, Eddie was booking this.
Gotta make Eddie look strong.
Now, another scene I wish I could play is when Delarice explains Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Pussy so good you could throw it up in the air. And it
turns
would turn
into
to
sunshine.
sunshine.
And speaking of quotable lines, late great Red Fox contributed another line later in that same vein, since we're talking about pussy.
Yep.
He said, "You know it's some mean pussy to make a motherfucker change gods."
When he was willing to...
I'm sorry. I heard that line. That was fucking crazy.
You're 100% right, dude. Another excellent fucking line of the... Like I said, I can play the... Everyone listening will hear what I play, but you're not going to hear it. So, it's not even worth playing them. But, according to Weebs, I am the fucking guy in this movie that she's after. Because if I ever met fucking Caitlyn from WWE, yeah.
You'd be like, yo, Box, let me ask you, would you pull
I ain't never coming home again, babe. Bye.
Hey, it's Daddy.
Yeah.
Put Mommy on the phone.
Hey, Logan, let me speak to Mommy. I ain't never coming home again. Click.
Take care. What he tell her? Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Honestly, what made this, like I said, I always say when it comes to movies, it's not always what you say, it's just how you say it in your delivery. And he said that in such a deadpan way where you could literally believe this man in real life would actually call his wife or call his family and say, "Yeah, I ain't never coming home again. Take care." Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Another great... We're all over the place. But remember that scene, I guess, after Richie and Sunshine did the deed? Yeah. And she's at the door about to leave, and he kind of looks at her with a tear in his eye.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching a Flair promo with a tear in his eye. He had that little tear. I'm sorry. Oh, like I said, this movie is fucking priceless.
It is, man. It is. And I gotta tell you, man, her character, Sunshine, in this movie, absolutely gorgeous. Drop dead gorgeous, to be honest with you, dude. She was amazingly hot in this fucking movie.
Yeah. And it kind of makes you wonder, because obviously she was one of Delarice's girls.
Mm.
If she was like, obviously, I guess she would be like the main eventer. Mm. You would think, why was the payments for the girls coming up short if she was one of the girls? Because it's like, obviously, like you said, Delarice's character basically ran a brothel.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of weird that, like, outside of Sunshine, they didn't really introduce any other of those characters, like, to kind of, like, establish that, okay, she was like a madam, she kind of, like, was a badass. They really didn't kind of establish that aspect of her character. It was kind of, like, more, like, spoken of and not really seen.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't really need to. I'm glad they showed her character, though. God damn, she was hot in this movie. She was sexy as hell in this movie.
Yeah, she like I said, she didn't really do much. Her role was basically to be a piece of ass, but she played it so well.
She did. And when they found her as Lady Heroin, another great line. Just because your last name's Heroin doesn't need to go around selling it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to look this dude up, man. Honestly, the only thing I've ever seen him in was freaking Harlem Nights, but the guy like he's
no,
fucking
you haven't.
cold.
You've seen him in more. I guarantee you've seen him in more stuff. Hold on, here you go. Here, I got him right here. He was in Eraser.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I had to go back.
All right, here. Let me explain. This guy's been acting since 1980. Here you go. T.J. Hooker.
Damn.
Saint Elsewhere. MacGyver. All right, let's go up a little bit. Some stuff you might know. He was in Roseanne for one episode. He was in a Seinfeld episode. He was in Who's the Boss?
Dang, this guy made the rounds.
For a few episodes. Jesus Christ, Murder, She Wrote, X-Files. I'm just glossing over here. Malcolm and Eddie. He was even in Malcolm and Eddie. Judging Amy, TV. He's done a ton of TV, this guy. Wow. Has he, Without a Trace, Boston Legal. He's basically a TV guy. But he ended up in this he was in Modern Family as of 2010. He's done a ton of TV, this guy, but I've seen him in a few different things here and there, and you kind of catch him like, oh my God. Guess what? He was in 2 episodes of NYPD Blue. Of course. I'm telling you, everyone's been in NYPD Blue, dude. Everybody has been in NYPD Blue. But he's been in a ton of stuff, man. He's got like 114 credits to his IMDb, so
yeah. But I would say like like I say, I probably have seen him in things and just kind of overlooked them.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this though, out of all the things, out of 100 movies or TV show appearances, Harlem Nights would easily be in his like top 5 in terms of memorable. I guarantee you, like if people see him on the street, hey Richie, did you ever go back home to the kids?
Yeah, I'd say this is probably his most memorable role though, but he's been in a few different things. Finally, they do. The cop finally does bust the club, and another funny scene is when Richard Pryor goes to bail them all out. And he's just sitting there, greeting everybody as they leave. And Red Fox is just sitting there bragging about how fucking great it is. He's like, we had a bunch of limos out there and champagne. Just another great scene, man. Red Fox, god damn, he was amazing.
No, and once again, it's like, and I guess this is kind of like, you get to see the softer side of Della Reese, and you get to see this is like a sensitive moment in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She's making sandwiches and all that kind of stuff, and Pryor and Fox basically tell Eddie Murphy, you need to apologize. I mean, because deep down, she's a good person. She loves you. She cares about you. And you really hurt her, literally and figuratively, when you shot her.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
They basically Della Reese and Red Fox is arguing back and forth. You got my mouth all set up for some hash browns, motherfucker. They going back and forth.
And at one point, they sort of imply that Red Fox and her character are together in this movie.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I just think it was funny because I can't remember the exact line. I wish we could pull it. But at one point, Red Fox is giving like this very emotional, you need to apologize. She's a good, caring woman. Yeah. Shut up, bitch. She really, deep down inside, she really is a caring woman, and you need to apologize. And I swear, I about lost my shit.
That is another great fucking comment, the fucking great quote in the movie. It's just, and he's like, she's really a sensitive behind. She's a loving woman. Fuck you, bitch. And then
he goes, like I said, she really is a good woman.
Yeah, Yeah, and he does apologize for shooting her in the foot, and she's over there crying, and she won't admit it either. As soon as he walks out, she says, "God damn, I love that boy." So obviously they're okay, and it is kind of a touching moment in the movie where you realize that
deep down, like everybody cares about everybody, like,
right?
Like, because you got to figure it's basically implied and stated that Richard Pryor raised Eddie Murphy from the time he was a kid because he apparently came from a broken home.
Yeah, and they call him his son 2 or 3 times in the movie. So,
and I don't know, what did you think about the scene where obviously at the I guess his near-death experience with Dominique LaRue, he actually got 2 near-death experiences. And he goes over to Sugar Ray's house and goes, you know what? I had enough of this shit. They trying to kill me. I'm going to kill them. And then Pryor get, look, sit the fuck down. Mm-hmm. And then he gives him the famous, ain't nothing cool about dying at 27. You know what's cool? Getting old with your kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
You said ain't nothing cool. And like Richard Pryor, like dead ass serious. Ain't nothing cool about dying at 27.
No. And
it really ain't.
You're young, you're full of fucking, you're young and dumb, but yeah. And I'm actually at the part right now where Richie calls home, tells his wife he ain't never fucking coming home again because of Sunshine's badass pussy.
Yes. Another, I'm going through some of the characters here. Mm-hmm. Did you recognize Richard Pryor's wife in the movie?
No.
When she basically was like, when she was the one talking to him, I don't want to move. I don't want to leave Harlem.
Mm-mm.
You don't know who that was?
No.
His wife in the movie was Berlinda Tolbert.
Right.
She was Jenny from the Jeffersons.
Oh shit! Didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Man, it's how long it's been since I've watched the fucking Jeffersons. Goddammit.
Yeah, but I mean, look. I'm stuttering now, but look. I'm like, da-da-da. No, but seriously, it's like, I swear, when I saw Charlie, I was watching this today, when I watched it back, because it had been a while since I actually sat down and watched Charlie, I'm like, God damn, I forgot Charlie Murphy was in this fucking movie. Because like I said, he's kind of like a bag, he's like there, but he doesn't really have enough of a role, and he's not really the Charlie Murphy that we know today. So it was kind of like, if you're not really paying attention, you actually forget he's in the movie.
I think Charlie Murphy should have got more fucking roles. I know he was in Chappelle's Show and shit like that, but he was really not as funny as his brother, but he was funny.
And how bizarre is it to think that they only acted together twice? I think they did this and they did North. I don't think they did anything else together on camera.
I don't think so either. Got to mention real quick, Michael Buffer does have a quick cameo in this movie as the announcer, of course. Because you can't do a boxing scene without Michael Buffer being in it. Since we're talking about the boxing match, this is actually we do have to roll back a little bit. One part right after they kill Tommy Smalls and Sergeant Cantone is talking to Bugsy Calhoun, saying that they just realized that God damn it, Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and their crew put down a lot of money on the white boy in this movie to win the boxing match, which immediately sparks Calhoun, which was part of their plan, to put money on him because they think that Jenkins is in this movie to take a dive.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. Again, I love that guy, Stan Shaw. He's amazing. Really, he is. He should be in more stuff too, but anything I've ever seen him in, I'm just like, holy shit, I know who that is.
Yeah, and believe it or not, he's in another movie that you probably, I don't know if you ever saw. It kind of flies under the radar. It's nothing really overly spectacular, but I like it. He's in a little movie called House Guest with Sinbad and Phil Hartman.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I've seen that. Long time ago. Long time ago. But obviously, part of this we haven't even mentioned yet. The ending of this movie basically goes around these guys are trying to steal enough money to give everyone $50,000 to get the fuck out of town.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We'll obviously mention that because part of that money is going to come from the fake bet that we just mentioned, that they're going against the white boy, the clean-cut white boy in the movie, and betting with them. But what they're doing is planning on stealing that money by using Sunshine as Miss Heroin.
Yes.
So this is once again, we always say another great scene, but another great scene in this movie where right after Richie picks up Lady Heroin, they get into a car accident. And Anthony, pick it up from here. There's something.
You okay?
Yeah, there's some people there. I hear yelling in the hallway. Give me 1 minute.
Grab your piece, Box. Grab your piece.
No. I hear my kid should not be up at 11:30 here. So give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. Go ahead and talk about the scene. The light just turned red. Car crash. And go.
Gotcha.
All right.
Basically, Charlie Murphy, his character basically is manipulating the street lights. They're set. Richie and Miss Heroin or Sunshine are ready to go through the light, and all of a sudden, it changes red, and there's a head-on collision with a cop car. Who's in the cop car, you may say? It's Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, who basically scheme, and they put those two on blast and say, Richie, you fucked up. You're with the infamous Miss Heroin. We've been trailing her all night. Richie is scared shitless at this point because he realizes he done fucked up. And what happens is they're set to take him in. All it is just a setup to get the money from Richie, which is Calhoun's money. And all of a sudden, two white cops, I might add, show up and basically get Richie out of the clear. But what happens from that point on, he drops the money off at Calhoun's, or what he thinks is the money, and it's basically sugar. Honest to God, sugar. And at this point, Calhoun and his crew is pissed off because they know Quick and Sugar Ray then pulled the wool over their eyes and stole their fucking money. So he goes over to Mr. Ray's house, and that's when shit really hits the fucking fan.
Ooh. All right, sorry about that.
Everything okay?
Yeah, my son thought it was 8 o'clock in the morning and wanted to start playing video games.
Okay, Box. Basically, I gave people a quick summary of, just to catch you up on what I said. You didn't miss much. You're at the scene with the car crash. Charlie Murphy is manipulating the lights. Miss Heroin and Richie are ready to go through that green light. All of a sudden, he changes to red. They have a head-on collision with Sugar Ray and Quick, and that's when they put their plan into place to steal the money, Calhoun's money, from him. So what happens is the two white cops show up and basically clear Richie, get him out of a pickle, because those, once again, they're connected to Calhoun. Mm-hmm. And then from there, Richie drops off the money to Calhoun, or what he thinks is the money. Calhoun opens it and realizes it's fucking sugar. It's not even heroin. He can't even flip it for anything. It's fucking sugar.
Oh. A great part. And, of course, Danny Aiello's cop character the whole time is watching this and, seeing what's going on. And they end up we got to mention this part where they bring Danny Aiello's character to an abandoned bank. And he asks, why? What he can't figure out is why they would be coming to a bank that was abandoned. And they let him know that they're making a deposit, not a withdrawal. And another is when they're talking, this is another, memorable scene where they're talking to him, and Eddie Murphy's talking about take short breaths, real short. Like, don't. And anyway, Denny Aiello is looking at him like, fuck you. And then as soon as the door closes in the vault, which they lock him in, they wait a few seconds, camera focuses on him, and he's going.
And obviously, this is, we got to give a shout out to Eddie Murphy and honestly everybody involved with this, because they really hit the race issues head on in this movie, because obviously it really spoke to the times. Obviously, 30s, 40s, it was very politically incorrect. Mm-hmm. I mean, Danny Aiello, his character, and Calhoun's character, they were basically they were portrayed as bigots. Yeah. Basically, hardcore. They didn't even dance around.
Oh yeah, I've definitely skipped a few quotes in this movie.
But I'm just like, let's just say Danny Aiello, he said things with comfort. He said certain things with very little trepidation.
He's an old school Italian. Come on.
I mean, but like I said, I'm not even knocking it, because it stayed true to how people were, even in the late 80s, even in the 80s.
Yeah.
Guys were just hardcore, they just went there with it.
Well, breakdancing made everybody cool.
Breaking? I thought it was Electric Boogaloo.
That was Breaking 2, sir.
I know.
I have both. Yeah, but I back to Danny Aiello's a really good. Like we said before, he's a great actor. Catch it. You mentioned the part where he's already doing that. Now, while he realizes that he can't even flip the product because it's sugar, another part of the plan kicks in, and DeLuise comes by.
Ah, yes.
Yep. And basically gets them to go to Sugar's apartment. And this is kind of where the movie starts getting a little tied up. We're not going to keep everybody here too fucking long tonight. Don't worry about that, guys. Well, come on. We've only been here an hour and a half. Calm down. They finally get over to the apartment with Bugsy Calhoun and all the people. And it's a setup. Bugsy Calhoun is actually blown up in this. And, one thing I could never figure out is if Bugsy was dead and the cop was where he was, why didn't they just stay? But anyway, that's digging a little too deep into the movie. It was a setup. They blew up Sugar Ray's apartment. That's probably one reason.
And I love how Calhoun, it's like once again, it goes to, like I said, you don't see this kind of attention to detail.
Yeah.
Anymore. Like it's almost like he knew from the moment they walked in that something wasn't right. Hey, Bugsy, this is look at the badge, look at all this shit, and then it was like, wait, it's a setup. Don't touch anything.
Yeah,
let's get the fuck out of here. No, boom. Joey, no. Boom.
And of course, right after that, something went down my fucking throat. Right after that, they're all looking at the city, but the two cops that we thought were taking their money were actually involved in the scam, and they're shown paying off the cops and getting the fuck out of town scot-free with $50,000 each in their pocket.
Yes.
And that's pretty much the end of the movie.
Now, I guess, you talk about tying up loose ends. How long, theoretically speaking, how long do you think Danny Aiello's character, how long do you think his character held on? Like, in other words, by the time Calhoun and them died, you think he was still alive?
Well, they told... Didn't they tell someone he was there?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Because they had saw his badge and his head. obviously they kind of like once again, I guess they kind of like left it there. Like looking back, they left his hat and his badge and all that stuff there as like a little warning sign, like, hey, we got to your boy already, so he won't be here. He won't be around to help you no more, type of thing.
For some reason, I thought they told someone in this movie that, hey, you might want to check out the bank on blah blah blah, but maybe they didn't.
I would have to rewatch, but I don't recall it. They really kind of implied that basically he suffocated to death.
Yeah,
but
that would be
like timeline wise, I think he still would have been alive around the time Calhoun and them got blown to smithereens.
Oh yeah, probably that time. Yeah, that probably would have been a good 4 to 5 hour. Yeah, at that time, probably.
Yeah, I think honestly they might have took more glee in killing him off than fucking Calhoun and them, because it just seems like they just let's just say the cop he played a very convincing dick in the movie.
Yeah, he did. Now let's real quick. I want to roll back to the beginning of the show when we were talking about, I'm not sure why this movie was a flop, $30 million budget, $95 million make. Weebs in the chat puts a very good reason why this movie was a flop. Number 10 that year, this is 1989 we're going back to, number 10, Born on the 4th of July, $161 million. I'm rounding off here, by the way. I'm not going to go to the fucking exact penny. Little Mermaid, $184 million. Ghostbusters 2, $215 million. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, $222 million. Lethal Weapon 2, $227 million. Dead Poets Society, $235. Look Who's Talking, $296. Back to the Future Part 2, $331,000. Batman.
Big one in the series.
Yep. Batman, $411. And number 1 is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, $474,171,806. This explains a little bit on why that movie might have been a box office flop.
It's insane. I mean, nowadays movies are doing like $1 billion business, so it's really not.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, these numbers are kind of like, chump change at this point. But isn't it insane to think that in 1989, even as early as that era, you had movies making close to $1 billion?
Yeah, well, yeah, at least $500 million. I mean, the biggest movie back then was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade at $474. But, I mean, that kind of explains a little more. We're like, wow, why would they call this a failure? But
it makes sense.
Yeah, this is how much these movies made that he's putting out. So, Jesus Christ, I honestly didn't know that. I didn't know Dead Poets Society was a Disney movie. But whatever. You learn something new every day, don't you? Getting to a few of the little-known things about Harlem Nights. What do you think?
Sure.
In Richard Pryor's autobiography, named Pryor, Convictions and Other Life Sentences.
Good book, by the way.
Yeah, obviously. I need to check that out. Richard Pryor states that he never really connected with Eddie Murphy. People, a quote from him is, people talked about how my work had influenced Eddie, and perhaps it did, but I always thought Eddie's comedy was mean. I used to say, Eddie, be a little nice, and that would piss him off. I finished Harlem Nights thinking Eddie didn't like me. I'm not sure if that's true. Eddie Murphy has still complimented Richard Pryor. I don't know how he took that comment, but I don't think he would have taken it like that. But kind of weird that,
because I actually have a quote that kind of contradicts that whole statement you just made.
Really? Please.
Yeah. Basically, I'm reading from Wikipedia. Always a reliable source.
Okay.
This is a direct quote.
My
that,
quote
Richard
came
Pryor
from
told
IMDb, by the way. Please,
he had,
go ahead.
Richard Pryor had told us to Rolling Stone, it's turning out to be more pleasant than I expected. Murphy is wise enough to listen to people. I've seen him be very patient with his actors. It's not a lark to him. He's really serious. He's on top of the world and he's doing a hell of a job, agreed Fox. He sure knows how to handle people with sensitivity. He'll come over to your side and give private direction. He never embarrasses anyone. You walk around here and look at the people, added Pryor. Have you ever in your life seen this many black people on a movie set? I haven't.
Well,
yeah, that sounds like a Richard Pryor quote if I ever read one.
It does, but I don't believe that contradicts what he said here. He was talking about his comedy.
Interaction, you think?
He was talking about his comedy. He even said Eddie's comedy was mean. He's not talking about the movie itself, the way Eddie handled himself. He's talking about Eddie's comedy. He personally thought some of Eddie's comedy was just mean. So,
would you agree?
No. No. I personally don't.
Well, I don't know. That brings up an interesting point, though. Like, I mean, is there a fine line between funny and being mean-spirited?
Yeah,
like, in other words,
if
you have to tear somebody down to be funny, is it really comedy?
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? That's a very fine line that comics walk all the time. Every now and then Andrew Dice Clay, even back in the 80s when I loved him, and 90s, used to put out some stuff that I'd be like, that probably didn't need to be there. That was just bullshit, being a piece of shit. But it never bothered me to where I'm like, ugh, I can't stand this guy because he told that one fucking joke. It never bothered me like that. Never. So, no, I didn't find much of Eddie Murphy's comedy to be mean at all. I really just laughed at most of it, which is what you're supposed to do. Richard Pryor, though, was a pioneer in that kind of comedy. So, in his mind, with, maybe to his, I'm getting way over his sort of, comedic checklist, that Eddie Murphy just might not have been his cup of tea.
No.
But he didn't, I'm sure he respected the fact that, he was his biggest influence, though.
Well, here's how I look at it. And part of it is, I think I might have it my timeline off, because I actually did read his autobiography. I want to say it came out around 95, 96. This would have been when he, like I said, he was more or less retired from the industry. And he was more introspective at the time. Because I remember, like, right around the time when he kind of, like, when he developed the MS, that's when he kind of slowed down on a lot of things. He kind of got his life in order, stopped using drugs, he got clean, and all that kind of stuff. I remember on one of his last stand-up shows, he basically said he went to Africa and he was reformed. He said, I'm not using the N-word no more. That type. So that might, excuse me, my throat is starting to kill me now. But I think that's probably part of where he was coming from, where he thought it was kind of like mean-spirited. Because, I mean, if you look at a lot of early Pryor, a lot of stuff that he may have said and did could have been construed the same way. But I think because he was at a different point in his life, he might have looked at what Pryor, he might have looked at what Eddie Murphy was doing like, that was mean, Maybe it's because he was starting to get more in touch with his personal side, his more, his sensitive side. That's probably kind of came out with that statement, because he was at a different point in his life by the time he wrote that autobiography. He was more introspective.
Right. And, you mentioned that Pryor was in a different point of his life at that time. Eddie Murphy even says at that time, by his own admission, he didn't dedicate enough thought or care to directing the movie in his debut. He was really more concerned of figuring out where the next party was going to be, and all that stuff. Even he says that he could have paid a lot more attention to that movie.
Yeah, I basically, look, I mean, I guess, and like I said, Eddie Murphy, this was like a vanity project for him. Let's be honest. It was a vanity project. You know, he always wanted to do a period piece. Number one, and number two, you know, what does every kid want? You know, you want to work with your heroes one day. So he's working with Pryor. He's working with Red Fox. He's probably thinking to himself, especially at that time, he's at the top of his game. He's come off hit after hit after hit. He's like, I'm Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I got Richard Pryor. I got Red Fox. The script could be shit.
Yeah.
But like, look who I'm with. Look who I'm surrounded by. The script don't have to be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
That probably was his thought process.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably was. But, obviously they did get along off camera because Eddie Murphy said once that the jokes and camaraderie between him, Pryor, Red Fox, and Robin Harris, even De La Reese behind the scenes, was way funnier than anything that was ever put on film. So I'll bet those people together backstage was probably... I'll bet people have some amazing stories of that shit right there, man.
Yeah, it's almost like you wish it was a camera that never stopped rolling. You just wish that somewhere, some way, that there's like some fucking behind-the-scenes footage that will see the light of day one day.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the story in this movie is, basically Bugsy Calhoun trying to take over Sugar Ray's nightclub in order to control Harlem. It is loosely inspired by a real feud between white gangster Dutch Schultz and his war with Bumpy Johnson, a black gangster at the time in the 1930s, over control of the Harlem lucrative The Numbers racket that was happening at that time. So this was a loosely based true film, which I didn't know that either. Yeah. So
now another thing, did you hear about the let me see here, the movie theater shooting controversy?
I was just about to bring that up on the opening night. There was a little shooting on November 17th when this movie came out.
Yes.
Two men were shot inside an AMC theater in Detroit, which is weird because Eddie Murphy went on to do all those movies with Beverly Hills Cop, and they were all shot in Detroit. A lot of them were shot in Detroit.
Yeah.
But some of it, not a lot of it, some of it was shot in Detroit. He was a cop from Detroit, but
yes.
Shooting happened that night, and it was it said there was like kind of a shooting spree during the opening of that film, and not even the opening, but more after that. There was another person who panicked and ran into traffic 2 days later at the hospital. It was a weird situation, but there were fights. This was a weird kind of movie. People were fighting.
I'm reading some of the quotes here. Let me see here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Later that night, brawlers were ejected from a Sacramento theater showing Harlem Nights. Their feud continued in a parking lot and ended with gunshots. Two 24-year-old men were seriously injured. An hour later, Marcel Thompson, 17, was fatally shot in a similar fight at a theater in Richmond, California. When police stopped the projection of Harlem Nights to find suspects, an hour-long riot erupted in Boston. Mayor Raymond Flynn saw so many fistfights taking place in a crowd leaving Harlem Nights that he at first threatened to close the theater down, but decided to tighten police security at the theater. Flynn blamed the film for the riot, stating that it glorifies violence. Quote, however, Raymond Howard, a lieutenant of the Richmond Police Department, defended the film, saying, there's nothing wrong with the show, but this tells me something about the nature of kids who are going to see these shows. Which is kind of weird because Harlem Nights, even though it does have those violent moments, it's more like comedic violence for the most part. I would expect stuff like this to come out of like people that saw New Jack City, Boys in the Hood, or Menace to Society, that were kind of like very darker in tone,
right,
and portrayed the violence in a more serious and realistic manner. But I just kind of can't believe that people go to Harlem Nights and get like that gassed up to start fist fights and shooting. I'm like, really? Harlem Nights?
Yeah, man. And Jesus, Pryor was married 7 times to 5 women. Holy shit.
Yes. Richard Pryor will forever be my hero because he had a young Pam Grier in her prime.
Oh, God. She's still hot now, but...
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But there's something to be said for having a woman in her prime years.
Mm-hmm. Weebs also in the chat mentions in August 2014 that the biopic for Richard Pryor will have Oprah Winfrey as a producer and will star Mike Epps as Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I've heard more about this, how this movie's even close to coming out, like, soon. Like, it might come out very soon. Mike Epps as Pryor, it could work.
It could work. I mean, I'm going to give it a chance because I'm always telling people you got to give stuff a chance before you shit on it. But yeah, I have my doubts, but I'm willing to give it a chance.
It's either going to be really good or completely horrible. There's going to be no middle ground, I believe.
It's going to come. Honestly, you know what it's going to come down to? For me, in my opinion, it's going to come down to the acting because you look at Jamie Foxx's Ray. Now, that obviously he won an Academy Award for it and then didn't proceeded to do shit else. But obviously, Jamie Foxx is a funny dude. Mm-hmm. But there's a fine line because at first I think going into it, you probably might have expected like almost like a parody of, oh, this is what Ray Charles was. But what made the movie work is he actually became. You felt like he became Ray Charles as the movie progressed. He kind of slept. It wasn't just him playing a character. It wasn't just him doing Ray Charles impersonation for 3 hours. So that's the point. That's going to tell a tale. If Mike Epps did his research and he actually is going into it and trying to become Pryor and not just doing like an impression for an hour and a half or 2 hours, that to me is going to make the difference between whether the movie sucks or whether it's a movie that you remember years down the line as being like epic.
Yeah, and I've never seen Ray, by the way. I have it. I've never watched it.
It's a good movie. It's depressing as fuck. And honestly, I can't really go back and watch it just because it's like sentimental value for me. Because that's literally the last thing I did. One of the last things I did with my grandfather. Because he literally died like a couple weeks after we saw that movie together.
Oh wow!
So literally, I haven't sat down and watched that movie beginning to end since. But even without that, it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It's just depressing as fuck.
Yeah, obviously. Shit. Anything else we missed?
From Harlem Nights, this is like the random. I mean, we kind of like got all of the high points of the show. I mean, of the movie.
Yeah, I'm looking through here. I don't think there's much more we missed in this movie. Except for Eddie Murphy's character's real name in the movie was Vernest. That's it. That's really the only other thing I can think of. And I don't know, man. You want to do any more? You want to go ahead and wrap this motherfucker up?
Yeah, it's up to you. I'm up. I mean, I'm open. I mean, can you think of any other random topics?
Not really. I mean, let's see. We were talking about Robin Harris. You know what? We can go ahead and get into a few of Eddie Murphy's movies since we're on the Harlem Nights. Was written, directed, produced, blah blah blah. Eddie Murphy. We can get into a few of Eddie Murphy's movies.
Yeah. Now let me ask you something. Deep. You don't have to get deep. We talk about how Richard Pryor was an influence to Eddie Murphy. Mm-hmm. Do you remember? And it was a bit part. But do you remember Chris Rock's brief cameo in Beverly Hills Cop 2?
Yes, I do. Yo, I get 5 for cars. Yeah, I do. He was the valet.
Yeah, now, I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm if they've done something together, it's kind of escaping me at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that, like, coming off of that, do you think it's kind of weird that during that time frame, Eddie and Chris Rock didn't collaborate on more things? Because clearly, if he wound up in that movie, Eddie saw something in him.
He did, and I believe Chris Rock was on Saturday Night Live at that time. I am a little surprised. I am and I'm not. They kind of went separate ways. Chris Rock was just blowing up a little bit after that. Eddie Murphy was...
Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy was Eddie Murphy. I'm not going to say he was on a downfall there, but he was sort of wrapping up a little bit. Then that little tranny thing came out. And
he lost a little bit of his street credibility.
Yeah, he did. But, let's bring up a few of I'll go ahead and say a few of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies right now. 48 Hours, both of them. Trading Places, all the Beverly Hills Cops, even three, yes. Coming to America. I do too. I like 3 too. Coming to America, Golden Child. Oh my God. Don't waste your time with Best Defense.
I remember that, cause he was only in it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, don't waste your time. Boomerang, The Distinguished Gentleman, Vampire in Brooklyn.
I liked it.
Don't expect much. I liked it too. Metro.
I enjoyed Metro.
I liked Metro. Him and Michael Rappaport. I thought it was a good little movie.
Life
wasn't great, but a fun movie. Nutty Professors, obviously. Like I said a few weeks ago, this man basically became the new Jerry Lewis. Nutty Professor and the Dr. Dolittle movies. Bowfinger.
I enjoyed that a great deal.
Life.
That. Oh man. And
what a movie.
That was it was a different type of generational, different type of generation of comedies coming together.
Yep.
But for me personally, especially growing up in the '90s, to see Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, and Bernie Mac share a screen together, that was something special for me. I mean, some people might not put it on the same level. You can't really put it on the same level as Fox, Pryor, and Murphy working together, but it's still a different kind of coming together of different genres and different generations of comedy.
Oh, that movie right there had a fucking all-star cast. That movie was... I really liked that movie, and I'd assume most people have seen that fucking movie by now, but yeah, like you said, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Anthony Anderson, who, come on, you gotta know who he is. He's been in Barbershop, he was in Me, Myself, and Irene... Law and Order. He did Law and Order for a while. Anyway, Bernie Mac, Guy Torrey. That was an amazing cast in that movie. It was great. Anytime that movie's on, I'm going to stop and watch it. Go ahead.
No, I was trying to think. Another movie, I don't know if you saw it yet, but Showtime, a movie he did with Robert De Niro. Got shit on at the box office, got shit on by critics, got shit on by generally everybody, but fuck it. I like it's a good movie. It really is. If you ever get a chance, it got Eddie Murphy, Robert De Niro, Rene Russo. I don't know if you're a Rene Russo fan.
Yeah. Lethal Weapon. 2, 3, and 4? Or 3 and 4? 2, 3, and 4. 3 and 4.
No. She was in 3 and 4.
Okay, 3 and 4. Okay. Yeah, and that was you're talking about Holy Man, aren't you?
Holy Man, no, Showtime.
Oh, that's right. Why do I remember Holy Man but can't think of what the fuck it was?
I remember it vaguely. That's one of those. That's kind of around the era time where I kind of started to tune Eddie Murphy out. But if I remember correctly, he was like a guy. He was playing like a Gandhi type character.
Yeah,
and these evil executives got their hooks in him, and like he became like a national celebrity, something like that.
Yeah.
That was like the general plot. It was like very kind of like paper thin plot.
Yeah, televangelist. There it is. Yeah, Showtime. Pluto Nash. Don't bother seeing. I Spy with Owen Wilson. I like that movie.
I was actually pretty. I think honestly that movie was probably it took a while, but that was kind of like Eddie Murphy. I think trying to get back to his roots. If you kind of like, it was PG-13. It didn't have many F-bombs in it like old school Eddie, but you kind of saw like a little bit of the swag from the '80s in that movie. So I think that was Eddie trying to recapture what he had back in the day.
I disagree. I believe this is where Eddie Murphy was already talking to Disney. Because he then did Daddy Daycare, and then we started seeing the Shrek movies.
Well, you can look at it like as a swan song then, because like I said, I don't know, because with I Spy, I did enjoy I Spy. You like I said, you just saw a little bit of that old school Eddie swagger before he kind of got into like that 1,000 words and. The Shrek, and honestly, outside of the Shrek movies, his Disney movies like A Haunted House or Haunted Mansion, whatever it was, they generally just sucked. Because I don't know, some people just don't flow. I applaud the man. You got to kind of evolve. You got to change with the times. But some people just don't kind of fit certain roles. And Eddie Murphy is like the family man, and like it just never felt right seeing him in like that. Daddy Daycare, Dr. Dolittle type of role. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
It never felt
you're right. Yep. But he really did. I mean, look, whether you fault him for the whole Disney Shrek thing or not, the guy made a great living off of all that. He actually has a movie coming out this year, Eddie Murphy, called Mr. Church. I don't know if you've seen any of the trailers for it. He's a cook in this movie.
I have not seen it.
You haven't. And a Beverly Hills Cop 4 has been announced, and he will play Axel Foley. And he's also thinking of making a return to stand-up. He kind of hinted at it on Fallon.
Now, that's going to be interesting because, we've been talking about, I don't know why, we actually been talking about this the past few weeks about how, like, the culture and just the climate has changed. And let's be honest, Eddie Murphy literally has not done a stand-up comedy act since like 1987.
Nope.
So you got to figure back then, people were pissed off about some of the shit that he was saying, and that was during a time period where things were a little more loose. You can get away with a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, how do you think Eddie Murphy in today's times, if you're going off of what he was doing in the 80s, how do you think he would, if he does make that return, that comeback, how do you think he's going to do in 2016 and beyond? Just based off of his two comedy shows from the 80s.
I think a lot of people my age and a little older will give it a chance because, oh my God, Eddie Murphy's back doing stand-up. Oh, I got to hear it. I don't know how it's going to go over, honestly. I'd hate to guess. Man, comedy is in such a different place now.
Yeah. Everybody's apologizing for shit.
I don't... Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough to guess. It's either going to go over, it's going to go over good. What kind of comedy is he going to go back to doing the dirty stuff? Is he going to try to be clean because he still wants ties with Disney?
It's going to be weird. I'll put it to you, Larry. I don't know. I think, honestly, if I had to wager a guess, I think he's going to lean more towards the dirty, and I'll tell you why. Do you remember the whole controversy when Saturday Night Live did their little 40th anniversary?
Uh-huh.
And like everybody, Eddie Murphy was easily the most anticipated person everybody was looking forward to seeing the most, because he was one of those people that once he left Saturday Night Live, he was gone.
Oh, yeah.
He never came back. He never did no kind of guest appearance, no guest host, no, hey, I'm just stopping by to say hi, nothing.
Right.
And then it's like when he showed up, it was almost like he was unengaged. He wasn't funny. He was only on it for like a minute. They wanted, I think the deal was they wanted him to do like a Bill Cosby joke, and he said no, I'm not going to kick the man while he's down. And then fast forward a few months later, he's cracking jokes and all that, and it's like old school Eddie. It's almost like Eddie picked that time to say, you know what, fuck it, I owe that motherfucker a couple receipts.
Yeah,
because he did take a couple of tips, but that was kind of like makes me think that he's going to lean towards old school Eddie a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to go over well with a new generation, but we'll see.
I don't know, man. I hope it does. I'd like to see that kind of, Eddie's kind of stand-up come back. Man, I'll tell you what, man. It'd be great to see Delirious and Raw come back to a movie theater. Kind of make a resurgence right now.
Well, you never know, because funny enough, because people that weren't even born, weren't even a tickle in their father's penises, actually enjoy those movies now. So they definitely lived on. Like people that weren't even born when those were originally released know what they're about. So I'm pretty sure that there's going to be like an anticipation to see like, are we going to get? I mean, hopefully he's not wearing the fucking red leather or the fucking purple platinum leather. Hopefully Eddie kind of let that shit go. He realized he's not in his 30s or his 20s no more.
Should realize he's gonna fucking have a heart attack on stage with that shit nowadays.
I mean, like, I don't know. I was a baby in the 80s, but even by those standards, that was like, Eddie, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was looking at that. Even every time I look at that, I swear I laugh more. As funny as those shows are, I laugh more at the fucking outfit just as much as I do at the jokes.
Shit, Eddie's outfit, Chris Rock in what was it, Bigger and Blacker with the black leather outfit on. He even said I'll never wear that shit again. I was sweating my ass off in that fucking outfit.
Especially if you're a guy that's like the kind of like command the stage and you walking back and forth and.
Oh, and Chris, I mean, both of them are, very animated with their actions, with their hands. So, yeah, I could see both of them sweating the fuck out of those suits.
Now, let me ask you, in terms of like Eddie Murphy, obviously he did that. I guess he took the philosophy of stand-up comedy of like going out on top, which I can respect. He didn't run that well dry, so obviously if he comes back, there's going to be, at least initially, he's going to make a boatload of money because the last time he did them, his last two comedy specials way back when were legitimate hits. They're culture. They're like they're at iconic status at this point.
I would put him there, yes.
So do you think that had he let's just rebook Eddie in the 80s. Let's just say his career had to continue. He had to did like sporadic stand-up comedy things like every now and then. Do you think his career would have took a different path? Like if he kind of like kept his name out there on the stage? Because you figure like Pryor in his prime he was doing like specials left and right. Yeah,
but maybe not. And I'll tell you why. Let me see something here. Let me go back to Eddie Murphy's IMDb just for 1 second. I want to check something before I make this comment. Let's see. No, I don't. And I'll tell you why. Times were changing. And I think he may have seen the comedy who was doing back in the 1980s, very early 90s, was not clicking with the new times. We talked about the Janet Jackson boot. What year was that? 2001?
2004.
2004. He had already done a few little... I mean, he had already done the Nutty Professors by then, the Dr. Doolittles, which everyone really enjoyed. Those movies did not do horrible, and he didn't get much flack for those. And he did go back and try to do, 2002. He tried to do Showtime, like you said. I Spy 2003. Daddy Daycare, which I honestly thought was a funny movie. Then he sunk a little bit, and in 2004 he started doing Shrek.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
From 2004, once he might have known his comedy wasn't really going to work out, he started doing Disney shows, Disney movies. Shrek the Halls. Yeah, Shrek the Halls. Shrek Forever After. He did Tower Heist.
I actually enjoyed that movie.
I haven't seen the whole movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I really think Eddie Murphy's career might have played out the best way it could have. You can't tell me he regrets 1 second being the voice of that donkey.
Oh, no. Fuck that. That donkey resurrected his career.
He is probably making millions in residuals off that fucking Shrek movies. He can't regret anything he's done. The only thing he might regret is the tranny driving thing.
Yeah,
but
and it's like,
I don't even want to bring that up because really, he's got one story, the cops have another, and whatever. But we don't need what it is.
I mean, and honestly, outside of that, he never really got it. His name was never really kind of brought up any type of kind of controversy. Like he was, seen, cheating on his wife. That he never had those type of incidences. So it's like, I tended, I say fuck it, even though it was kind of a fucked up story, regardless of who you believe. It's like, hey, get a guy the benefit of the doubt. He had the one incident, and after that, it was kind of like, nothing else ever happened. So get a guy the benefit of the doubt on that one.
I always figured maybe he was about to cheat, didn't know there was a fucking tree trunk involved in this situation.
Maybe he had been under the influence a little bit. Who knows? One of those situations.
But who knows? We're completely speculating here. Obviously, he's really the only one who knows what happened there. So, I don't know. On that note, I don't think we can say too much without rambling on about complete bullshit.
You're right.
So, without doing that, I say we get the fuck out of here.
Definitely.
And, of course, Mish comes in at the end. That's all right, Mish. You can listen to it whenever the fuck I put it up. All right. So, you can check us out, of course, THT Movie Review. You can check us out iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. Search THT Movie Review. That's the way to get to us all right there. And, of course, you can always check out me and Shaheen Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern, right here on Mixer.com/THT Podcast. Anyway, Ant, what else you got to say to end this motherfucking show, bro?
Suck my left dick. And on that note...
Wow.
No, fuck. It's my catchphrase. I'm trying to keep the gimmick alive. No, seriously, though. Appreciate the listeners. Love you guys. Any idea of a movie for next week, Box? I haven't even thought about it.
I got a few ideas, but maybe we'll figure it out. We'll get it worked out in the next day or two, and we'll go from there. Cool. And don't forget to check out me and Shaheen this Sunday. We'll be on sometime talking some wrestling. There's a lot of shit to go over.
Yeah.
TNA. I'm actually hoping more comes out on that so we can give you guys a few some real details coming up Sunday. And we'll see what happens. On that note, we're out of here. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you next Friday, 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern.
Peace.
For another movie. See ya.
Is there some climax love thing happening here, baby, or what? By that time, fast tapping with the night, said it's time to blow,
to the right.